It is exactly 8:30 Central Standard Time on Tuesday, January the 19th, 2021. I'm Professor Richard Wright, and I'm here to um, do this lecture today on realities in criminal justice. I'm going to open up though by, uh, thanking and, silently I've said today, I saw what the president-elect did today, and then recognizing that today was the last day, would be the last day of the outgoing president, that we reached the stage in this country as of this day that over 400,000 people have lost their lives because of this pandemic. And it grieves me. I know a few people who passed, maybe you do too, but it really grieves me because that's how I am. I shed tears just thinking about it, and then I just stopped and thought about it, seeing that there are people who, even when the pandemic is over, will not have certain people sitting at their tables. It's very tragic and very sad time for our country, and so I pause for a moment of silence right now before I start teaching this class right now. That's what I do. I don't care if you prayed or meditated or did whatever you did, because the silence for those 4,000 plus that are dead is going to be an eternal silence. It's sad and it troubles me. Should trouble you as well. You guys are going to be first responders in many cases. You're going to find yourselves out there on the firing line not too far from now, graduating, going out, working in your fields. We have to keep you guys in our prayers. I know of at least 2 firefighters. I know maybe 3 or 4 Chicago police officers, and seeing all over the country who, and doctors and other medical personnel who are among those 4,000. So let's hope and pray that next year at this time we'll be looking at a whole nother situation. But I am optimistic about the start that we have tomorrow, a new beginning. That's starting at 12 noon tomorrow. I don't care what your politics are. It's time for us to come out of the situation that this country is in now. And at this moment, the other thing that grieves me is the division in this country, the hatred. One of the things I like about Rasmussen University is that we stress diversity, and we appreciate diversity. It's one of our transferable skills, as you recall. I'm part of the Diversity and Inclusion Council. Yesterday was a celebration of Dr. King's birthday. I was part of helping that become law in Illinois. I drafted the petition that was used in Illinois by many, many people that signed to have it become a national holiday. I went to Washington, D.C. to march for that. So I'm a believer of that. And I don't push my beliefs off on people, but I just have to be who I am. And like I said again, yeah, I hear you. I hear you, Sarah. And you know how I feel about your name. You know why, you know, but um, I'm just an emotional man. I saw the president-elect shed tears. Real men cry. Real men cry in situations, and I'm not afraid to admit I'm one of those. Yep. And so I encourage you to, as I say to my students, remember I said this before, I produce ethical, professional, and educated criminal justice professionals. You guys are our future, and I know you're going to do well. I'm getting a few students who have posted things on Facebook, and the school even wrote an article about one of my students, and she mentioned the fact that I played a role in her. She specifically mentioned adversity as the springboard to success. You guys know about that. So let's do it. Let's do it. Okay, let me get to it. I'm going to share my screen. And here we go. Week 3. Moving down here. You can see that we have week 3, and then we have 3 more to go. Wait a minute. Why do I have week 3 in here already? Why do I have week 3 in here? I don't have week 3. This is probably, let me see. Give me a minute here. I got to check something. Last night I did a lecture. Wait a minute, did I get the right class? Oh, duh, I got the wrong one. That's because I'm in contemporary issues. Okay, no problem. Let's go to it. This is realities. I knew something was wrong there when I saw that. Okay, here we go. So we come down here and you see your week 2 lecture, and you have 3 more lectures that are coming up, weeks 4, 5, and then week 6. All right. So now let's take a look at the course calendar. And here we go. We are here. As you can see, tonight your initial post is due. Does evidence make a case? Your reading assignment without the text. Well, this says the O.J. Simpson trial and discretion, politics. And then it talks about your reply post due Saturday. And then on the 24th, your mid-quarter survey. Then your course project, where you submit your interview questions. Remember, for week 2, you selected the 2 that the POI, PIO rather, and you also the newspaper person. And then your written assignment, fair trial or paradise, and all of this we're going to go over in the rubric. But notice this is what I bring you to every week. Here we go. The 9th. The 9th is when the class ends, which, as you already know, that because the class ends on the 9th, we'll have 2 lectures in week 5. One will be on a Friday night, rare Friday night, that I have to do a lecture for you guys to be prepared for that week. But it absolutely ends on the 9th, not the 10th, not the 11th, 12th, 13th, and not the 14th. So be aware of that. Make sure you do remember that. All right, let's look at the module. Whoops, wrong module. And let's look at the assignments. Your written assignment, fair trial or paradise loss. So check out this video and then write a 1 to 2 page paper identifying 3 issues relating to this, ensuring a fair trial to the defendants in the Paradise Lost documentary once the media got involved. We've been talking about that quite a bit here because we talk about the media in this course. And conclude your paper with an evaluation of how much impact the media had on this. It is APA, as you already know, citations and references. Here's the rubric right here. Identify at least 3 issues, ensuring a fair trial for 40 points, and evaluate the impact the media had for 40 points. And then your other is structural, the number of pages, make sure it is double space, and then your APA requirements, citations in the body and references at the end, a cover page, Roman 12 as well. Any questions about this written assignment, fair trial or paradise loss? Okay. So then the next thing that we have is the discussion. Does evidence make a case? So then, do you think that the O.J. Simpson was tried in the media, or do you think the system worked properly despite the publicity? How much responsibility should the media take for the outcome of this case? From a criminal justice standpoint, do you feel that the issues raised during the O.J. Simpson trial were legitimate issues? Why or why not? I'm gonna make some comments about that in a few minutes because I know all about the O.J. Simpson case for a number of reasons. In '84, when the case came out, actually it was '94, when the case came out, I had a chance to watch the case because I had it recorded, and I was paid by 3 radio stations to report on it. So I had an insight that I gathered from that. And then later on, a person who I had met 10 years before, then I didn't realize who he was, in San Diego, when I went out there for a law conference. They had a guy who was the head of my section. His name was John, that's what we call him then, John Cochran, who really is Johnny Cochran. And so I learned something. This was 10 years before the OJ case. But what I'm going to tell you is that after the OJ case was over, Johnny came to Chicago, joined a partnership with a guy I know very well, James Montgomery, who was the corporation counsel under Mayor Harold Washington of the city of Chicago, and I knew him as a trial lawyer. Anyway, it was Montgomery and O.J. Simpson's attorney, Johnny. And so I got a chance to talk to him again. This time I talked to him about the O.J. Simpson case, and he shared some things with me that I learned that I'll never forget as long as I live. And so there are many things, but overall you'll discover that the media impact on the case was not the big issue. The impact of law enforcement, how poorly they did, is what created that debacle. And may have resulted in the acquittal of O.J. Simpson. Okay. And because the jury was sequestered. All right, so that's your discussion assignment. Initial post due tonight, reply post due Saturday. For this section of the project, 20 open-ended. Now, open-ended questions are questions that don't end with the person answer. If I ask you, did you steal that coat? That's closed in, because that's going to require a yes or no. Can you tell me about how you stole the coat? Then that's going to cause the person to make a statement to go beyond the words yes or no. And those are the kinds of questions. Now, you're given some guidance here because we give you 10 questions for each interviewee. 4 of the questions are right here in the assignment, and they are open-ended if you pay attention to them. And then you're going to come up with 6 additional questions. 6 additional questions for each of the interviews. So you should have, as it says, a total of 10 questions, each of which include the 4 mandatory questions and 6 questions that you create. Okay, and this should be designed to get as much information as you can. Remember, once again, open-ended questions that give knowledge about their jobs, open-ended. And I'll let you know when I read your questions if they're open-ended or not. And remember, I told you the way that you know if something's open-ended is that if it's a question that allows the individual to provide information and not just a yes or no answer. You can ask questions about the relationship between media and criminal justice professionals. And it says develop a good idea of how each entity feels about and how they work together as positive or negative. Now, I'm not going to be really that concerned because you're not going to have the answers. Remember, you're just creating the questions now. Okay? And you can do those double space or single space because it's not requiring citations and references, but it does require a cover sheet. I do want to see a cover sheet. Okay? Here is the rubric that breaks it all down for you. And you'll see. Submitted the 4 mandatory questions for interviews. You already got them. And then submitted each 6 additional questions for a total of 10. You get 45 points. And then all the questions are relevant to the interviewee's profession. And then here's the content. Don't worry about the minimum 2-page length requirement. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. I usually don't that's a standard setup, and that really doesn't apply in this instance. APA, again, I'm not worried about that in this instance. I'm more concerned about this up here. Any questions? Okay. So it's pretty easy, really, because you got 4 out of the 6 already given to you. And then the last assignment is your live classroom lecture. That's the last one. Okay. So now we're going to get into the topic. Reading the O.J. Simpson trial, discretion in politics. So we're gonna talk about this right here. So these are the two readings. Now, I will tell you that when you go to find these readings, if you Google, you can find them. As a matter of fact, I will make sure if you have any questions. Now, regarding the O.J. Simpson case, I'm going to, let's see, I have from, let's see, let me go back to, let me close this down. Let me go to my content collection. I think I have it in here. Give me a minute. Let me see. These are other courses that I teach. I think it's on page 2 or 3. It's not this one. Might be page 3. I meant to send this to you earlier, but I want to make sure. Okay. Page 4. Should be in here. I must be missing it. I think I missed it. I'm sure it's in here because I know I put it in here to have for my students. About the O.J. Simpson case. That's Drew Peterson. Okay, maybe it's 2. And if I don't, then I will send it to you after, right after the session. But I think, yeah, I have to send it to you because I thought I had it in the course. I know I have it on my desktop, but I thought I put it in here. I called myself putting it in here. Let me see if I don't think I have it in here. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. Yeah, this is it. The chronology of the O.J. Simpson trial. So I'm going to send you this. Yeah. I knew I had it in the class. Okay. So I will be emailing this to you right after the lecture is over, and you'll get a chance to see something concerning that, the O.J. Simpson case, and you'll understand a lot of things. You'll see how it was bungled by the individuals that were involved, and it was really, really, really bad. So let's talk about the media coverage. So in so-called high-profile cases, and there's some OJ stuff in here, stars, the media is heavily involved, provides a lot of information to the public. And the question that they use here involves Joan Benet Ramsey. Do you know that name, Joan Benet Ramsey? Yes. So you know she was a child that was killed. Yeah, she was in a pageant, but she was killed, and they don't know who did it. But 2 of the people that they suspected, yes, were their parents. That's exactly who they suspected. And so it never really went to trial or anything like that. But the question is, when a person is a celebrity, does the media hone in on it and report on it? And there's a situation where it's about money. It's like a advertising frenzy. And so the other part about it is that individuals who have a lot of money can afford to hire a team, like the dream team. Did you not know, or you probably did know, that one of the attorneys on there, um, his last name was Kardashian? Did you know that? Yes. If you when you see if you go to video and Google when the finding of guilty of not guilty by OJ, and you see the guy next to OJ with the glasses on, that's that's the Kardashians' dad. That's how they got their money. He was a wealthy attorney. Yeah, and actually they were friends. The Kardashians were friends with OJ Simpson, but there was some fallout when the murder took place. But he ended up representing OJ. So you'll be able to if you do some research on the OJ Simpson attorneys, you'll see his name. I can't think of his first name. Matter of fact, um, give me a second. I'll tell you. Uh, yeah, OJ Simpson lawyers. Here we go. Okay. There he is right there. He doesn't have glasses on here. Can you see this? Can you see what I'm pointing to? Yeah, that's um, his name is Robert Kardashian. And then you can see, well, I thought he had glasses on. Yeah, there he is right there. And when the O.J. Simpson verdict was given, I thought he had glasses on when he was standing next to him. I know Johnny Cochran did. Uh, yeah, father of Kim Kardashian. That's Robert. And I'm trying to see where is. Yeah, there he is right there next to OJ. But I don't know why I thought he had glasses on. I know Johnny had glasses on. But I thought that, yeah, he did. There he is standing next to him. See, he has glasses on. I knew when OJ was found acquitted, and he was it was interesting. You see his face? He was shocked. And OJ was smiling, and Johnny was kind of like, when the jury found him not guilty. Yeah. And, when you look at that, you can even go to the video and see the Dream Team on YouTube, and you could see that. Yeah, a lot of people were shocked, but if you understood the way that the police just messed this case up, messed it up big time, you know. Um, how did that get in there? The impeachment trial. I don't know. That doesn't belong in there. Okay. But yeah, this is OJ's team. This is the judge. Uh, yeah. There's Robert Kardashian there. Um, yeah. So I like I said again. You know. Oh, because he hired one of the lawyers. Oh yeah, one of the lawyers that he hired, OJ. I mean that Trump hired was uh he's a Harvard. I know his name. Dershowitz. Alan Dershowitz. Yeah. So anyway, these are some pictures, so you can take a look at that. yourself there. Yeah. Okay, let's get out of that. I mean, how do I get out of that? I want to get out of that. I want to close that without closing. Close tab. Okay, there we go. So yeah, so you can see, but it's big money that was involved, representing OJ. And so the whole issue is media coverage of high profile cases is on a higher level. Okay. So fair trial versus media trial. Under the law, each American has a right to a fair trial, and the person is presumed innocent until proven guilty. However, as I teach my students, that's the way the system is set up. However, unfortunately, it's really the opposite in the minds of many people, that a person is guilty until proven to be innocent. But that's how people's minds function and operate. But the system says that you're presumed innocent until proven guilty. And the prosecution has that job. And as I said, in the O.J. Simpson case, as you would go through and read that timeline I'm going to share with you, you'll discover that there was so many bad things, from Mark Furman's testifying that he never used the N-word, where he was impeached, from I forgot the other attorney who, in a chain of evidence, the shoes that were taken from the scene, he put them in the trunk of his car, and rather than taking them to the evidence place where it's supposed to go to protect the chain of custody, he took it home and left it in his car, and then Monday took it in, and that was brought out on the stand, and that put suspicion before the trier of fact about the weapons. And then, of course, you know, the issue about the famous line that if it don't fit, you must acquit. You saw that in the pictures where OJ put on the glove. And one of the things that I say that the prosecution fumbled that one, because of the fact that, of course, the glove wouldn't fit. There are two reasons why. Number one, when you wear a glove like that had been soaked in blood, you put a glove, rubber glove, something to protect your skin under it. And that makes it harder for it to fit. But the other reason is because, as you should already know this, if you had leather gloves and you got them wet, what did they do? Shrunk. That's right. And the same thing would happen with the blood, is that it would shrink. And so the jury, seeing that, took the position to see that Johnnie Cochran was very smart, and that was one of the things he shared with me about illustrations, which, by the way, just for your own information, he said OJ didn't do it. I know the jury said it. He said, no, he didn't do it. But there was somebody who may have done it. And I said to him, let me guess. He said, if you guess, I won't tell you yes, I won't tell you no. So I guessed. I said, Jason, right? And he looked at me like, well, you're tough. Do you know who Jason was? Do you know who Jason was? You know who Jason was? O.J. Simpson's son. O.J. Simpson's son. Yeah. And it wasn't with his wife that was ex-wife that was killed. Remember, see, a lot of people don't know this. O.J. was married before that, long time ago. and he probably would have been better off if he'd stayed with her. His first wife, I forgot her name, but you know, but when he went to USC, and then he went and played for the Buffalo Bills football. I cannot think of her name, but he had a child, some children. So anyway, protecting and so the bottom line is that that never came out on record or anything like that. But at any rate, there were some things that Johnny was sharing with me. So and then there were some things Johnny took to the grave. So if the justice system, it says, existed in a vacuum and not affected by outside opinion and information, it would be easy for a person to be tried. However, because of the media and the information provided in high profile cases, sometimes the evidence that the media comes up with creates a presumption of guilt before the trial, or innocence before the trial begins. And that's yep, that's a good one. That's a real good example. That is a real good example, an excellent example. Thanks for bringing that one out, just so that you guys would know. Just talking about Aaron Hernandez's trial. Absolutely, that is a real good example. And I thought about that trial, comparing it with the O.J. Simpson case. So absolutely. And so it says we should consider many of the cases that the media has presented, such as the O.J. Simpson case. Now, again, and then they have a review. You can, I think they still got it in here, the link that you can, you can look at this yourself, and you'll see. Oh, Van Adder, that's the attorney, that's the police officer who took the shoes home, and that was his name, Detective Van Adder. But it was just stupid. It was dumb what he did. But anyway, there, so you'll get a chance to look at that as part of your completing your assignment for the discussion. But be aware that celebrity cases are so protected by judges with gag orders where the parties can't comment. And one of the biggest features is restricting the media. Now there are media involved in the courtroom. But here's the point I'm saying, is that with the O.J. Simpson case, there were many things that came up as the trial started that if the jurors saw, it might have affected or swayed their decision. But I think that because in the O.J. Simpson case, the poor job that the police did would be a hard cookie to overcome. And, like I said again, no matter what side people are on, when I look at this from the standpoint of a defense attorney and the evidence, they goofed up. They didn't do good police work. It was just terrible. So the truth of the matter is that it says all Americans have a right to a fair trial, and so should celebrities. But because of the intense media coverage, and so as you know, the jurors for the O.J. Simpson case were sequestered. That is, and what they read or listened to was vetted so that they wouldn't be contaminated by the daily news reports, or hearing people like myself who would look at the case and then give coverage. So I was actually operating as part of the media, but the trial had already started when I started getting involved in it. So because I was reporting on the daily. So, let me see, that was quick. That was the first time I heard the term for that trial. That you had heard. What term? Oh, sequestered. Oh, you know what sequestered is, though, right? You know now what it is. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah. A lot of people didn't know what that even meant. Even not only younger people, but older people too. But yeah, that meant that the jury was set aside. So what the jury saw was the evidence that came from the stand, and that the witnesses that the police put forward weakened their case like part in the Red Sea. And even a first year law student could look at that and say, "Oh man!" And there were people that were in law, and see, you got to remember something about Johnny Cochran that you may or may not knew. That Johnny Cochran was once a prosecutor. Did you know that? Okay, yeah, he was a prosecutor, and he worked with police officers, and he also knew that the LAPD had some very serious problems when it came to minority males, especially. And then there was another issue that had to do with the fact, even in that time, that he was a black man married to a white female. That was a problem that came out and created problems in terms of people's positions that they were taking. It's nothing like the polarization that we have in the country now because of our outgoing president, but it was of a lower level, and to some degrees had parts of that in it too as well. Very interesting kind of thing. So you find yourself in that situation. So as we look at our assignments, we need to be able to understand the importance of the balance between the right of the media to cover a case and the right of the individual to a fair trial. And so in high profile as well as low profile cases, they will sequester individuals. I don't think I had any cases that I represented people in. Yeah, I did. I had one. No, because they were released. But no, I know of a friend who was a juror on a high profile case, and um, he was found guilty. But then later on, it was discovered that they made the wrong decision, and the appellate court reversed it in one of their rare decisions in Illinois for this criminal case that um, it was. I can't think of his name, but he was. This happened in Oak Park, where the guy said in a dream and gave details that were explicit concerning the murder of this individual, this lady. And one of my friends was on the jury that found him guilty. And I told her, I said, I think you guys made a mistake. And then she said, no. And sure enough, the appellate court, because the Illinois appellate court, good people, hardly ever reverses cases. Yeah. I didn't have any of my cases in a situation that I was aware of ever down the road where there was a reversal. But most of my clients were acquitted. I'm talking about of some that, for example, that pled guilty, which I had some of those where the evidence was overwhelming, and we pled them guilty. So it's like being caught on video doing something and those kind of things. Yep. So anyway, that's it for today. Any questions? Okay. So I'm going to give you the key phrase. O.J. Simpson. That's it. Just give it to me and you'll get your points. So get those assignments in. And again, as soon as I hang up this call, this session, I'm going to email you. So check your emails in the class email, and you'll see the PDF about the O.J. Simpson case and the chronology. So stay safe, stay prayerful, stay focused. Tomorrow, as I said, tomorrow's the 20th of January, and I'll be focusing on the change at 12 o'clock. So, yep, here's to a better tomorrow is right. And the day after that, and the day after that, and the day after that. All right, Sarah, and the rest of you guys who look at this video, I wish you Godspeed, stay safe, and I'll see you guys next week. And next week in week 4, remember, we'll be crossing over into the second part of the course. I'm going to talk to you about assignments from weeks 1 to 3 and next week and explain something to you. So it doesn't apply yet, so don't worry about it. So best way not to worry about it is get your assignments in. So all right, I'll see you next Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Central. Good night.